And good morning. Welcome to another edition of RealSportsLive.com, Real Sports Live Southwest 2019 Texas High School Football Playoff Edition of the Gridiron Talk Show as we get ready for playoff time Friday night, 7:30 in Far San Juan, as we have Coach Olivas to my right and Coach Cardenas, the offense. I got the DC and OC here for the Eagle Pass Eagles as we get ready for playoff action for the Eagles. Good morning, coaches, and how are we doing this morning?
Morning, Fred. We are doing very good. Our bellies are full. We have a playoff game to play. We got great boosters supporting us, so couldn't be better.
There you go, Coach.
Thank you to.
It's on now.
Okay. Thank you, Connie, and the Booster Club for feeding us this morning. And anytime you're in the playoffs, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, it is. That feeling where you're practicing after you finish a grueling, 10, 11-week season. And, of course, you get to punch your ticket into the next round and hoping going deep in the playoff run. As we continue this, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with talking X's and O's and what to expect against Far San Juan. And we'll be back with more after this. And we're back live. If we can turn the mics on. Coaches, what a feeling it is to be playing in November for the third straight year after ending the drought 2017, 2018, and 2019. You guys punch your tickets into the playoffs. As we'll talk to Coach here in a bit. I know he's doing some stuff this morning. But first, and we'll talk on the defensive side. First is you guys have made a lot of changes on defense. You guys had to bring up some guys. You also had to make some movement on it to fit the 11 best guys on the field. Coach, tell us a little bit about some of the kids and what they bring to the table.
Well, first of all, we've been hurt in the secondary. A couple of kids out. Your son early on in the year, and then we lost Mando de los Santos, and we've had to move some players around to accommodate what we do best. And I think it starts up front. We get a lot of pass rush up front, and then Charlie Schussler and company there, and MJ. And then, of course, our Conde's come on strong the last few games. He's gotten better each week, and we've rotated in our tackle. We Tommy and Santana, and then our linebacker core, has been intact most of the year. We have and Jacob. And then we've used Uriel and Sepulveda and Perales on the outside. But our secondary, we've used a lot of different guys. Orly's the latest addition. He had a good game last week against Del Rio, made some key tackles and defensive stops there. But David Lopez and Barcena have been our consistent guys there all year, and we brought in our running back. We needed some help in the secondary, and he came over for the running back, and he had a big interception last week to clinch the game.
That overtime
Jose
game.
Hernandez, yes.
That was a great game. It was one of the epic games of the 2019 season. Of course, in the historic Del Rio Eagle Pass rivalry, that's been one of the best that I've witnessed. And of course, they came victorious in the overtime, 24-17. Coach, now we go to the offensive side. Early on, you had Saravia. He went out with an injury. Alan has come up and showed his leadership as a senior. He did have some mishaps in that game, but he thrived in that situation, coming back and hitting those big 2 plays. One for that touchdown with 10 seconds left. and then in the overtime, Coach.
Yeah. Well, first of all, again, Fred, thank you. I always thank you for everything you do for our school, for our community, and especially our kids. This is about them. This is their moment to shine. This is want to make sure they take good memories from our program and what all the coaches do for them. And also, we're thankful that we have the support from the Booster Club and all the parents that make this such a wonderful experience for our kids. But, having said that, and you're absolutely right, it's a grueling season. Not too many people get the insight into how grueling it is, how demanding it is, how challenging it is, especially when you're working with 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. Not only do they have football on their mind, they have so many other things on their mind. And you got to make sure that they stay the course, and it's a grueling season. And other teams don't care that you're hurt. Other teams don't care that you're missing two players. They're going to come at you with whatever they have, and they're going to make the necessary adjustments. So I'm just glad to see. You never plan to be in a ball game like you were against Del Rio. I mean, obviously you prepare, but if you are caught in a game like that, well, you're thankful because we're preparing our kids for those moments.
Exactly.
So we'll win in a 7-0 tie. That's that whole resiliency we talk about. That's the whole bouncing back mentality that you talk about that coaches love to preach throughout the nation, and you get to display it Friday night. And our kids did a wonderful job, not only led by our coaches. So again, we took in a 7-0, and we made a few adjustments, and it's just a matter of getting after it. And our kids did.
They did.
Down and they got after it. Alan, like any kid's going to have it. He's going to make some mistakes. Professionals do it. NFL players do it. College players do it. And it's not a time to doubt him. It's a time to actually promote him, say, you're better, and give him that confidence that he needs. And he thrived. And all our kids thrived behind Alan, and our receivers and our line did a real good job on Friday.
Coach, talking about your trio and running backs and TJ Mares, a freshman, then you got Isaac Cavero, the straightforward type of running back that you see. He engages the hit. He usually doesn't like to cut or anything. He goes after somebody. If a defensive back is in his way, instead of cutting, he'll go over him. Just to give him I'm here. You're gonna have to.
Coach Jimenez has aged this year. Like me, I guess we're losing more hair as we go. But he's aged, and that's just you love his intensity, you love his passion. But that's just something that we've been trying to drill through him, through the season, for him to understand the cutback, the lanes, the different runs that we have, instead of just a straight shot, go through one gap and see what happens. So, but it's a work in progress. I'm very proud of his effort. I'm proud that he's improving every week, and that's what you want to see with our kids. And Coach Jimenez has done a good job with him. But again, he's a work in progress, and it's something that even this week we had to go over the different runs that we're going to do, and kind of bringing him in, and also has TJ Maris, another young kid that he's developing as well.
Yeah, and of course you cannot say enough about Saul Perales also coming in certain situations, getting you either a first down. He's a downhill runner. He gets
us a tough yardage, Fred. I mean, he does, and he's known our offense. He's played with us for 3 years now, and he complements what Alan is doing. Again, Coach Venegas does a great job with Alan. And it was very evident as he rolled out and the different things that he does to get out of the pocket, recognizes that there's pressure, understands that we don't have to take sacks, we don't have to make bad plays, throw the ball away, and that's a reflection of how Coach handles him. Also, the offensive line, how Coach Venegas handles those kids under pressure. Limit the false starts to no false starts, and of course, it speaks wonders of what Coach Mata and Coach Garcia are doing for the receivers. Those kids have gotten a lot better with Alan and their timing and the breaking, the scrambling drills that we do. So, to the public, it may seem like that play. There's just so much that goes behind that one play that you try to run and to try to put teenagers in the best spot to be successful. That's a tough job for anybody.
Exactly, no, for anybody to. But again, it shows a testament of the program and what has transpired after ending that drought. Really going on a run now in a 3 straight year of playoff appearances, and yet having some young guys still coming back, looking again for next year. Yes, that guys had a 3-3 district record, a 6-4 overall record, but it indicates that for the future, you guys will come back. And for you, Coach, on the defensive side, you guys have some guys coming back next year, not like this year where you had to plug and play some of the guys in, having one guy come back, actually two, but one that really wasn't starting because you had a senior-led team a year ago.
Yes, and we lost a lot of seniors on defense. We lost a lot of senior backups also, and a lot of our guys had to mature and grow up fast, and I think our preseason and our scrimmages helped with that. We played some tough opponents early on, and it led us to the district, and 6-4 doesn't speak of how a lot of games we're in, and we didn't come out victorious. But again, in the end, I think that those games prepared us for the last quarter against Del Rio, which was very emotional. Like some said, I've had a lot of people call and tell me, even our band director said that's probably the most exciting game he's witnessed since he's been here since '82. And again, our character, our resiliency, everything that we teach throughout back in January led to where we are right now. That was a great game to be part of, to coach in, to see our kids pick themselves up and fight to the end, which what it came down to.
Yeah, exactly. And to know that you have that kind of game under your belt, knowing that you got a playoff game that just a year ago also went to overtime. And you guys won that one 34-28, and that was an exciting game too. To know that you're playing the same team at the same stadium and knowing that you can go over there and be successful because you've already done it once.
Yes, and again, PSJ, again, district champion again over there, and a good friend of mine, Lupe Rodriguez, went to college together. He set all kind of records in high school, and he's a quarterback guru, and he's done a marvelous job again. And, as we watch him on film and prepare for them, it's basically the same team we played last year, except minus a quarterback. All the receivers are back, and they're fast, and they're athletic and make a lot of plays. They're both outside receivers, went to state and track, and we got to see them a couple of times last year at track meets and talk to them. They're great kids. We got to meet them, and they had a lot of good things to say about our program as we do about them. And it's going to be a very exciting game to be part of, and we look forward to the challenge.
There you go, coaches. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know that you guys got some things to take care of this morning, and but of course, always enjoyable to listen the defensive mindset and the offensive mindset of what the Eagle Pass runs. We'll be back after these messages from our sponsors. Again, we're at Eagle Fieldhouse, the Eagle Pass Fieldhouse, as Coach Gonzalez and Coach Venegas will join us after these messages from our sponsors.
Willkommen to Welcome to Hacienda Ford's Trucktoberfest.
Trucktoberfest is the biggest sale of the year on Ford pickup trucks at Hacienda Ford. Now, no matter what options you want, it's at Hacienda Ford. Right now, get a 2019 Ford F-150 for 0% interest for 72 months, plus $1,000 bonus cash.
Trucktoberfest means Hacienda has it.
Hola, les habla su amigo Benjamín Gómez, el alcalde de San Benito, invitando a toda la gente que venga a visitarnos aquí a San Benito. Crucen por el puente Los Indios, más bien conocido como el puente de Lucio Blanco. Visítenos a las atracciones que tenemos aquí en San Benito. Aquí los esperamos. Muchas gracias. Su amigo Benjamín Gómez.
Willkommen to Welcome to Hacienda Ford's Trucktoberfest.
Trucktoberfest is the biggest sale of the year on new trucks and SUVs at Hacienda Ford. Now, no matter what options you want, it's at Hacienda Ford. Right now, get a 2019 Ford Explorer with up to $10,000 off MSRP at Hacienda Ford.
Trucktoberfest means Hacienda has it.
And we're back live. I don't know if you did turn it on already. Did you? No. Hey, well, hold on. But I need. Okay, did you turn it on?
Yeah, I did. It's on.
Oh, okay. So
You what?
You what?
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Alamar Salich in the Super Bowl interview that he had a few years back, few years back, and we got Coach Venegas, Coach Tom Gonzalez, the head coach of your Eagle Pass Eagles. We're at the Nest, the Eagle Field House, as we're streaming live our 2019 Texas High School Football Gridiron Talk Playoff Edition. Playoffs, Coach. Again, third year straight. Playoffs. Playoffs. Well, he's talking about some other thing. Practice? You're talking about practice? But playoffs, yeah. Well, even, what was it? Coach Mora from, he was in the press conference saying.
Mora Jr.
Yeah. Playoffs? You're talking about playoffs. Coach, it's been one of those weeks preparing for this that you had some days that you had weather that. How has that kind of gone through the scheduling and saying, hey, we got to get at least some reps outside for these kids to get ready for?
Yeah, that's real important, Fred. I mean, it's one of the things that we preach in the off season. It starts in the off season, like everything else. We tell them we're weatherproof. We're going to go outside, whether it's raining, cold, hail, sleet. It doesn't matter. We're gonna be outside, and our kids are very strong-minded because of that, and they're ready to go. It doesn't matter. They're not going to come down here and ask, "Are we going outside?" They're suited out by the time we get to the locker room, and they're ready to go every day.
They're ready to go. Coach Venegas, as we turn it to you, Coach, you got some quarterbacks in not only the senior Orlando Rodriguez, but you also have some young guys in Jacob Reese, who of course was going to start at the beginning of the year, but things happened that they needed him somewhere else, and he went to receiver and defense. But and then you got the young guy Saravia, who is I think that kid has a cannon for an arm. He's mobile to know how to read and throw. And then you have Mingo Fuentes, who, again, for me, he's built like Medina, but throws
A lot like Medina.
Yeah, a lot like Medina. Having him in the offseason, Coach, and knowing and understanding that you had a plethora of quarterbacks, what was the way of thinking and going through the process of, okay, Coach Tom, this is who I think is ready for our RPO?
Well, we took it as a competition. This last offseason, we had 4 quarterbacks, and they all wanted that position. So we took it as a competition, and I told these guys, the best guy that, works the hardest, that earns that job, is going to be the one that's going to be starting Friday night. But, one thing that I did tell them, throughout the year, throughout the offseason, is prepare like you're going to be the starter. And sure enough, Jacob Reese went down, Alan stepped up. Alan went down, and Saravia came up, and he stepped up big for us, throughout 2 games. And then Saravia went down with the collarbone injury, and then Mingo stepped up as well. So, these guys, they work hard. They're good kids. They don't complain about anything. They don't complain about being the starter. They just prepare, the way they should, and they worked out throughout the whole year.
Yeah, exactly. As some of the booster moms are here, as we had breakfast for the team. And Miss Samallego, Miss Catu, and Lorena, and Miss Caballero, they're here as they prepared a good breakfast for the boys. A day early, because of course tomorrow morning after the pep rally, you guys are on a bus and traveling to far San Juan. Coach, what is it to get into the playoffs and then look at the situation and say, I've been there, been there, done that?
I mean, I've been coaching 33 years. Let me first thank the booster moms. Thank you very much for everything y'all do all year long, and you, Fred, also for providing the menudo and everybody that's involved in our program. We appreciate your
effort, yeah, of course, Coach. That's what we're all here for. Because again, the program, yes, you guys have them here, but when they go home, they talk highly about the coaching staff and what you guys bring to the table, and understand that you're building character in these kids. You're building them into men, and understanding that they're gonna move on with what they've learned in football, because football teaches you a lot about life.
Right, it does. And going back to your question, Fred, I've been coaching 33 years, and every year everyone wants to make the playoffs, and that's something that you strive for, and that's something that you set your goals for in the off season. And like I said, everything goes back to the off season and starts there. And the kids every year they want to get better and set the goals for higher for the next year. And so that's where we're at right now. And I told them yesterday, we're here. Last year's goal was to surpass last year's team, and right now is your opportunity.
Yeah, Coach, that game in Del Rio to punch your ticket in is one of the most historical games that we've seen, that we've noticed. And what was we did get your interview, and I think I did play it on the game that we. It was a post game, one of the post game interviews. But you mentioned in that post game that you guys were resilient enough to understand what the situation was and how they came out in the second half and really played Eagle football. the testament to the coaches again to prepare, like Venegas said, to prepare these guys to know that whoever's called upon, they need to step up and play. In that game, of course, he made 2 big throws that were needed, Coach. And can you touch on what Alan has meant to, going forward and understanding that he did make some of those big throws?
Alan is very important to our football team, as everyone else is. But I got to compliment Coach Venegas and the rest of our coaching staff, Cardenas and the offensive staff, Coach Olivas and the defensive staff. But we changed our philosophy a few years ago in our off season, and kind of tweaked it a big time. I shouldn't say just tweak. We really revamped the whole thing, and I think it's made a big difference. But going back to Alan, he took on the role as leader, as captain, and he showed it on Friday night. And he knew he was making a couple of mistakes here and there, but being the leader that he was and the type of player he is, and he's a really great person also outside of football. He took on that role and said, you know what, I got to make plays, and sure enough, he did. Yeah,
he did. Coach, in talking more about your quarterbacks, understanding you also have some young quarterbacks coming up that can always take that role of the starting quarterback at the varsity level. You got a kid in Stanwyck who's a lefty, speedster, can throw the ball, but can also scramble in this RPO type of offense that you guys run. But knowing and understanding that you do have some guys coming back of Saravia and Jacob, Mingo is coming back. So I mean, you have some guys there that can fill the senior role of being a quarterback coach.
Yeah, and they can fill the role, but there's always a lot of work to be done during the off season. And Saravia and Mingo are great kids. They have Friday night experience already, so that's always a plus. And Stanwyck is another good kid. He's a lefty. He needs to put in a little bit more work, but he's a good runner. He's smart with the football, and he did some good things for us on the JV team. As a freshman. So,
yeah.
He's a good kid.
Exactly, and understanding that of course with these young guys, that Friday night light experience, that's the one big thing that sometimes we take for granted, that a lot of these guys that don't have that Friday, they get big-eyed and bushy-tailed once they get that experience. Coach, as we look at the bracket, you guys are going against Far San Juan. It's I thought it was a 7:30, but it's a 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. We got 5 hours to go.
You stayed with the theme of 7 o'clock throughout the year, right?
Yes, sir.
Same, right, Coach?
Yeah, that's right.
But then we got Harlingen and Vela coming out of the bottom bracket. Coach, Vela, not their usual selves this year. They've lost a couple of games this year. Harlingen looks like a team of 2 years ago when they made also a deep run. Right. Who would you rather face?
Well, getting to that point, I just want to get to that point, and then we'll see who we'll face. Both of them are very well coached. Both of them are very disciplined. They do a great job on offense and defense, special teams. But anything can happen in the playoffs. And I think our guys are ready for second round and ready for third round. And it doesn't matter if we play the Dallas Cowboys. Our kids are going to be ready for it.
There you go, Coach. And with this record of a 6-4 record, it's down of a year ago when you went 9-3 and 4-2 in district. What do you see from this group that you didn't see last year? Of course, it's a young team, and we talked about it early in the year. It's a young team, but a young team that grew up throughout the season, Coach.
Right, and you saw the growing up there, especially it kind of peaked out there against Del Rio. We're seeing a big change in our kids just this week, after that Friday night game against Del Rio. And I just see we saw a lot of youth throughout the season, and we made those youthful mistakes, I guess you can call them. But our kids have grown up a lot, and I'm very proud of these guys. I'm very proud to be their head coach, and thank God we're alive. Thank God we're Eagles.
Yeah, there you go. With that being said, we're going to take a quick break, then we'll be back. We won't talk about Coach's mishap. But we'll be back with more after this. You're watching Real Sports Live, Southwest.com. Valdez Tire Record Service, located at 522 North Pierce Street in Eagle Pass, Texas. With 24-hour roadside service, commercial tow, automotive repair shop, call us today at 830-757-3102. Valdez Tire Record Service wishes the Eagle Pass Eagles and the CC Win Mavericks a successful team season.
EPER Recycling Center, 3323 Del Rio Boulevard, open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. But don't throw it away. Recycle it today at 3323 Del Rio Boulevard. For more information on how to turn your scrap into cash, call 758-0685 or find us on Facebook.
Hello, Eagle Pass and surrounding areas. My name is Grant Beer. I'm the general manager of Ram Country Auto World. We have the largest selection of pre-owned inventory. Come by and see us at 1997 Veterans Boulevard, where we make sure our customers are number one.
I'm looking at everything. I'm like, what is going on here? Anyways, we're back from the Nest Eagle Fieldhouse. We're live for the 2019 playoff edition of Gridiron Talk. Coach Venegas, Coach Tom Gonzalez. Coach, I know we talked a little bit about the resiliency of this young team. Let's talk about some of the kids on the offense. A big play coming from Carlos Santos in that game against Del Rio, returning the kickoff to the 25. But going back to the young guys, it didn't phase him. And then we talk about also the special teams. Nobody gives Coach Coca the
credit
he does because he has those guys ready every time with whatever it is that they're going to run, and in that one they set you up for that winning drive with 1:27 left. Coach, what can you say about that special teams and Coach Coca Ruiz?
Well, Coach Ruiz works hard with them, and he really does a good job, and he's gotten better over the years, and this year, I mean, it just proved it. But our kids, you saw the run. Carlos made an excellent run. He's a competitor. He's out there fighting every down. He's going to give you everything he got. But what you didn't notice, like you said, were the key blocks that broke it. And there was MJ kicked out on one of their players, and then Blue Boy led him all the way down the sideline. So it made a big difference with so little time to get us down there, and especially very deep in their territory.
Yeah, Coach, you needed a big play when you were down 17-10. They came back after that turnover. What did you talk to them about after that turnover, and talk to the team in the huddle before that kickoff return, Coach? What did you tell the guys?
Well, just that we got to make plays, and we still have time. You got to play to the very end, and you play till the last second of the game and keep fighting. And it goes back to our off season. Everything goes back to there. We work hard at the little things, trying to refine the little things, and it comes down to playing those type of games.
The understanding that when it's needed, that's where they're going to shine.
And these kids, they don't really understand it when they're doing it. We tell them to tuck in their shirt, come clean shaven, don't be late to class, lock your lock, little things like that. And they're a lot of them don't realize it, that discipline carries over to the football field and life. Exactly, Coach.
And Coach Venegas, with your receivers, do they have a special bond with all these with the quarterbacks, as far as GC Ricci, Carlos Santos, and Jacob Reese, and of course Carlos Lopez, to name a few. Also, the big gamer for you guys this year has been your sophomore Dakota Kiparos coach. Does your quarterbacks normally when quarterbacks and receivers are on the same page, they hang out together, they talk, and I know everybody has their little defense has their little.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about the relationship between, of course, you, Coach, and Coach Mata with the receivers, and Coach Beto, and understanding that quarterbacks go hand in hand with the receivers.
Yeah, well, it goes back all the way to, before strength and conditioning. These guys would come in the summer, put in some of the work on their own time, and go out there, throw the football. And, they were just getting to learn each other's speed, how Alan throws the football, how Sarabia throws the football. But, every time something goes wrong, they always come back together, and say, well, what happened here? How was the defense of coverage at that time? Well, how can we do it better? They have great communication, and that's key, because we don't want them to come back and say, well, you could have done this better or you could have done that better. We're always trying to be on the same page, and if there's something that has to be fixed, we'll fix it right then and there, and we'll move on to the next play, but these guys, they have a good relationship, they hang out together, everything that they do, they try to do together. So, that's always a plus between.
They are best friends all the way around. They really are.
All the way around, and of course, you guys are family.
Yes, we are.
You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my son-in-law.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about family, like you said, with the receivers and quarterbacks. Of course, you guys are family. He's your son-in-law. And congratulations, you guys are expecting
a baby girl.
A baby girl.
January 3rd.
So now you have a son.
Yes.
And now you're gonna have a girl. So you're gonna have a football player and a volleyball player in the family.
Cheerleader.
Cheerleader. That's more expensive, Coach.
My father-in-law says he's going to be a band.
No, really? I said whatever he wants, we'll support him either way. It doesn't matter.
Oh, and with that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more after this.
Capital Insurance Services has been in services since 1965. We are an independent agency representing Progressive, Travelers, Allstate, and Mexico Insurance. Our office hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. Owned and operated by Clarissa Rivera and her friendly staff, Amanda Garza and Ivana Salinas. 2502 Del Rio Boulevard Auto has the car you need. Don't look any further. Come visit us at 2502 Del Rio Boulevard in Eagle Pass. Fast, easy credit approval, low down payments on any of our quality used cars. Stop by 2502 Del Rio Boulevard Auto.
Sarita's Tortilla Factory, with 3 great locations to serve you in Maverick County. Come try our delicious barbacoa with the tortillas. Si son Saritas, ni me las calientes. Also, you can get our tortillas in Laredo, Texas at your local supermarket. That's Sarita's Tortilla Factory.
Eagle Grocery, La Tienda de los Venados, established in 1939, a staple in downtown Eagle Pass. Make sure you come by and visit our meat market. Also, don't forget, we are ready for Lent. So come by and see our party supplies for all your Easter needs at Eagle Grocery, La Tienda de los Venados.
Why not, right? Welcome back to another edition of Real Sports Live. And we're back. I wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. We're at the Eagle's Nest, Eagle Fieldhouse. Thank you, coaches, for letting us host this show here. I know that we got a lot of support from the community. Of course, you guys punch your ticket into the playoffs, and understanding that you are facing a familiar foe in Forest San Juan. They went 6-1 in district play. They I think they only lost to. Let me go back to their one loss, but they had a Mission. They beat Mission in McAllen Memorial. I'm trying to find their.
I know.
I'm trying to figure out who they lost to. Let me go back to that one. Why does it say 6-1? And sometimes the
6-1 in district.
Yeah, 6-1 in district. But I thought they were undefeated in district. No, they lost to San Benito. Yeah, they lost to San Benito, I think.
But not in district.
No, McAllen Memorial. McAllen Memorial 39-37. That was that one loss. and I believe Mission beat McAllen Memorial. That's why there was a 3-way tie, and that's how, when you get all these scenarios, Coach, it's like, what?
Yeah.
What happened? Coach, your non-district season was a good one because you got these guys, these young guys, to understand the speed of the game at a level where they saw good teams,
right?
And understanding that's where it starts with the, like Coach earlier said, Coach Olivas. It starts in that preseason,
right.
in those 4 games in preseason. Going forward, Coach, are you gonna see the same teams, or will you change it up for next year, knowing that you have realignment too?
Yeah, well, we're trying to get the same teams, trying to get the same caliber teams. But a lot of times it doesn't work out that way. You got teams that don't want to play you anymore, or they just don't want to travel to Eagle Pass. So we have a lot of trouble scheduling a lot of people just because they don't want to travel to Eagle Pass. They can play inner city games in San Antonio or Laredo or something like that. So a lot of times we have to go out, and we've been looking for teams in Corpus and even the Valley and around San Antonio, and we're getting a lot of no's. So.
You're getting a lot of no's. You're getting a lot of people saying, I'd rather not.
Yeah, so we're the day of the meeting of realignment, that's where you find your games.
In February.
Right.
That's where you're going to start talking to people.
Yeah,
and saying,
because they're in different districts, and they need a game here and there. So,
Coach, Junior Vasquez is one of the running backs. He's a senior, 5'7", 150. Is that kid the key guy that you look for in Far San Juan, or is it their quarterback?
Well, their quarterback, because they throw the ball like 80-90% of the time. So, that's their game. And their receivers are great. They're fast, quick. They can catch the ball. They're all back from last year. So their skilled players are back from last year. So they're a very good football team. But they were district champs last year also, and we went in there and won it. So, it's part of believing, and the other one is going out there and playing the game.
Coach, and knowing that you're going to the same place, the same stadium, are you guys doing this? Because with football coaches and like anything, even baseball, there's a feel of superstition and knowing what to do and when to do it, and kind of staying at an itinerary that you did the same as last year.
Oh yeah, we're going to follow the same itinerary from last year, definitely. We do have to change some things throughout the week when you lose, and that's what we did this past week against Del Rio. We changed a lot of things, especially our attire, coaching attire, and you don't want to keep it the same. I mean, that's keep doing the same thing and expect different results. It doesn't work out that way. So yeah, we're going to stick with the same itinerary that we did last year to go to PSJ. But everything else we got a different football team.
Miguel Flores is one of their key guys, 5'6", 135, the receiver.
Right.
There's some other guys. I'm looking at their roster. Austin Flores, one of their freshman quarterback. They have a sophomore quarterback. I'm trying to remember who their quarterback was. I know it was Guajardo last year.
Right.
And his Marco Guajardo was the other receiver, the 5'8" receiver. And those guys were not scared to go down the middle, and you had some heavy hitters last year.
Right.
This year, knowing that you have Hernandez back there, Jose Hernandez, you have Barcena, you don't have the senior leadership in Eric Heredia this year, knowing that he's had that playoff experience. What has he done on the team, Coach, as far as on the sideline, because he's been sidelined with an injury all season long?
Eric?
Yes.
Well, he hasn't missed a day of practice. That's one thing, and he's a great team supporter, team leader out there, helping out the guys, explaining to those DBs that you mentioned that didn't have the experience, so the experience of him playing last year is helping us on the outside as an
extra coach, as a coach on the sideline, knowing
a peer coach.
Yeah, of course, and knowing the fact that he was there, he's been on varsity since his sophomore year. He's got that 3-year experience, varsity experience. And knowing what to expect from some of the alignments, because he watches film
definitely. He does everything we do. The only thing he can't do is go on the football field.
Go on the football field and get strapped up for one last time. I don't think Doctor let him. The doctor didn't let him do that. So Coach, as far as your quarterbacks, of course they're going to be game ready. But do you? I know Alon was there last year. He did get a couple of reps during the game before. I think it was the last couple of games. He did get some reps in, but in the playoff game, he was on the sideline. But do you expect any jitters from him, Coach? Do you expect anything other than, hey, let's go out there and play?
Well, I mean, if he does have any jitters, that's you can take that as a good thing as well, because that means he's actually, ready for that game. But Alanin has worked hard all year. He's always mentally prepared. Like Coach Cardenas said, this is a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid. He's gonna make mistakes. One thing I told him is, you make a mistake, there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. Go on to the next play, and make it up. That's what he did this past Friday night. So, this past Monday, I told him, you've been in tough situations already. There's not anything that you can do that you can't execute. At this point, he knows the playbook, the ins and outs, and all he has to do is play with a clear mind, and go out there Friday night and execute.
There you go. So I know, coaches, as we sit here behind us, of course, the beautiful field house and your weight room and whatnot. But is there something in the air this week that you kind of felt, hey, you know what? It's a good week of practice. It was a good. I know yesterday you went out to the SAC to get some work in on the turf because, of course, you're going to be on the turf field over at PJ. It's a beautiful stadium. We're going to be out there also bringing you live coverage from PSJ tomorrow night, Friday. I prefer to say that stadium gives the big spectacle of like a UT stadium, like a big stadium atmosphere where the fans and the stadium can get packed, and of course PSJ always packs their house.
And you're right. It's a beautiful stadium. It's one that you want to play a playoff game in, and our kids are looking forward to it. We, going back to what you just mentioned, I think our kids. They had to play a game like we did this past Friday against Del Rio. It was a tough game, but they pulled it out. And you talked to Barcena, who's our team leader, and he said, Coach, we needed a game like that before the playoffs. And so they were real excited. The feel in the air is that, that it's a different energy. It really is. And I'm very proud of the way they've approached it. And I think we're ready for it.
You're talking about a grind-out game, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, not an easy game. Not one where we really showed our character and had to go out there and do the right things in order to win.
Yeah, exactly, Coach. With that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more after this. You're watching the playoff edition of Gridiron Talk Show from the Nest Eagle Fieldhouse. We'll be back with more after this.
Texas Diving Garage is located at 2881 North Veterans Boulevard. Personalize your car, truck, or SUV. Accessories, lift kits, maintenance, brake jobs, oil changes, and filter change. Best tires and rims around. Call them at 830-776-5363. That's Texas Diamond Garage. Rody's Country Fried Chicken, located at 1910 El Indio Highway, wants to wish the Eagle Pass Eagles and the CC Wind Mavericks a successful season. From the Rodriguez family, come by before or after the game and enjoy some great food.
StatER does its testing and evaluations quickly without the delays of a traditional emergency room. We utilize the full services of a standard ER department, including CT scan, bedside emergency ultrasound, x-rays, and a full clinical laboratory, with a focus on getting you taken care of without long wait times. Stat Emergency Center is here to offer emergency services any day of the week and around the clock. Get the care you deserve. Get treated, not seated.
And we're back to Gridiron Talk, playoff edition from the Eagles Nest Eagle Fieldhouse. It has a home feel. as a home field here when you walk in and everybody says hi and as we sit and sometimes talk about the game before, Coach, and all that stuff, I get some insight in what you guys talk about in this room, in the war room. But knowing the fact that all the coaches and your whole coaching staff, Coach, they have a common goal, and they have the common goal of winning and making sure that you groom these young men or these young boys into young men, Coach. And it's a refreshing feeling, like I was mentioning to Coach earlier, to Coach Olivas and Coach Cardenas, as they gave us their time because they had some things that they had to take care of. But knowing that it starts in the off season, that character education that Coach Cardenas always talks about,
right,
and what you guys do on the off season. You're expecting a big off season, Coach, and understanding that you got a lot of guys coming back, and it's going to be a scary team next year. And I'm saying next year, 2020, because it's yes, we're in the playoffs, but understanding what you have coming back.
Yeah, we added about, I think, 18 JVers to the varsity for this playoff season, and on that playoff roster we have 51 guys back for all season. So, and that's not counting the ones that we didn't move up, or the freshmen and all those guys. So we have a really good group coming back. We're looking forward to that. Of course, we want to get through, make sure our football season continues, and that's what we're playing for right now. But yeah, we have a good crop coming back.
There you go, Coach. I know a lot of coaches like to punch their ticket into the playoffs and be practicing during Thanksgiving. Is that a feeling that you have every year, that you want to have every year, Coach?
Yeah, well, that's one of our goals every year, is to make playoffs. Of course, win district, then make playoffs, and as well eat turkey on Thanksgiving and then go play on a Friday night
there you go.
Saturday. So, I mean, that's always one of our goals.
Yeah, of course, last year came short against Hannah. Hannah didn't make the playoffs this year, Coach. Is that Valley in district, I believe it was 31-6A or 32-6A. I mean, they're tough down there, and throughout the years you've faced some pretty tough Valley teams. Coming back this year, you're going to have some Valley teams that again primarily throw, and you've seen it in your district with Alexander, with United, and then you've seen these teams that run the ball predominantly. You've seen it in United South. You've seen it in Southwest. So again, you've had the experience. The guys have seen the repetitive times of what to expect from an alignment and what to expect from the teams that you play.
I think our district's a tough one. I really do. United, Alexander this year, United South. They're really tough to play, and I think it prepares us for this part of the season. And it doesn't matter who we're playing in the Valley. It seems like we're we meet up with the number one team in the Valley every year in the playoffs, and that's the way we approach it anyway. But our kids are ready for whoever comes their way.
Yeah, Coach, and we talked briefly about the quarterback situation in it with Far San Juan, knowing that the kid has thrown for 2,400 yards or something like that. 2,700 yards. And then you have a receiver. I believe it's one of the it's Flores. I believe that he's actually 1,300 yards. But the kid is a kid that when you see him, you're like,
yeah, they're not very big.
They're not very big.
They're not very big. I think he's 5'6", 128 or something like that. But I mean, he is a speedster, quick on the draw, and I mean that guy. You get him the ball, and him along with the rest of the receivers, they'll find an open spot somewhere.
Yeah,
if the quarterback has time, he's going to find them too. So the key is to put pressure on.
Well, and again, you have guys in the front line with Conde and Santos and Schussler and McGehee and MJ. That front four, Coach, for you guys has been playing above the level this year, knowing that they had to replace 4 guys of last year that did a tremendous job for you, Coach.
Yeah, and that goes back to their coaches too. You know, Coach Villa and Coach Ruiz up front. You know, they do a fantastic job with those guys. They make them work hard, and it's the next man up. You know, that's just, you hear that a lot in every level. And our kids have been playing, you know, to our expectations and beyond, and we're really excited because, you know, we do have several of those guys back also.
Yeah. We had talking about that receiver. He had 12 catches for 184 yards against Lincoln Suarez last week. Of course, you guys looked at film and understood what's at store. So
Right.
Friday night, November 15th, 7 o'clock from far San Juan Alamo. Of course, you guys will be leaving early in the morning, right after the pep rally tomorrow morning. Anything closing for you guys as we are finishing off our playoff edition of Gridiron Talk?
I'd just like to say thank you, Fred, for everything you've done all season long, and having, you know, this show and supporting our kids, and, you know, they look forward to stuff like this, and so do we as coaches. But, you know, you do a fantastic job, and we appreciate everything you do, and to our community, thanks for the support all year long, and hope that everyone can come out. I know it's a long way, but, you know, the Valley's a beautiful place. You know, you want to go down there and shop and do whatever you got to do, but we appreciate the support from our administration and teachers and kids and everybody, the whole Eagle community.
Yeah, of course. Your brother will be down there.
Yeah, shout out to my brother. I think he's watching right now.
Yeah, he's a good friend of yours, Cano. Chuck Cano, who played baseball, played football. He was a lineman, right?
He was our center.
His center? When you were playing running back, right, Coach? Quarterback.
I played a little bit of quarterback, and then I moved to receiver.
I
was a freshman when I was a senior.
When you were a senior.
My brother wants me to say he was a quarterback also.
He was a quarterback. So, Coach, and just the experience from you being in the playoffs for the last 3 years, knowing that you have Eagle pride. You went to school here at high school. You played, you know.
I was his coach. Yes. That's how he met my daughter, but that's all right. That's another story.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we won't talk about that on air. But
she didn't listen to us.
And of course, both of you are coaches. You know, she coaches volleyball with the high school, and of course, you're on the coaching staff. But going back, what is it? What's the feeling that you get every time that you guys get into the playoffs and of course go deep, Coach?
It was just a completely different feeling, you know, just getting to the playoffs, you know, and knowing that all the hard work that you put into it, you know, has finally paid off. But you know, our kids are ready. You know, they're well prepared, and you know, they're gonna go out there and play hard on Friday night.
I know, you guys have a lunch date with Morris Lipson later, and I always enjoy my breakfast shows with you guys, because again, it gives the opportunity for you guys to do 2 shows in one day. But not only that, you guys get breakfast and you guys get lunch. Man, and then you say I'm the one who eats a lot.
No one says that, Fred. Maybe your wife, but not us.
Right? But guys, thank you again for joining us on another edition of Real Sports Live, SouthwestRealSportsLive.com, as we get set for the 2019 Texas High School Football Playoffs.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week for another edition of playoff edition of Gridiron Talk Show. As we will leave you with this, Coach. I know the drive is 5 hours. Make sure if you can't drive or you can't make it, make sure you listen to us on Real Sports Live, our YouTube channel, Facebook page, Twitter. We're all over the place. If you're an alumni and can't make the game, or you're out in San Antonio or in Florida, you know, anywhere you're China. Yeah, anywhere you're at, you can actually listen to the game. Just follow our Facebook pages, follow our Twitters, subscribe to our YouTube channels. You'll be able to catch the game as we give you a audio presentation, play-by-play of this playoff game. We did not get the rights to video.
Wow.
And that's you know, something that we need to.
I don't think you pushed hard enough.
No, it wasn't that. It's
kidding, Fred.
It's more than that, Coach. And we'll talk about that offline, off the air. But again, thank you again for joining us for Coach Venegas, for Coach Gonzalez. 7 o'clock kickoff Friday night as the Eagles take on the Far San Juan Alamo Bears and get ready to rumble.
That's right.
So, again, for Coach Gonzalez, for Coach Venegas, I'm Freddie Dea. Keep talking sports, Real Sports Live, Southwest.com.